We have Devrim. Devrim from the 707. How are you doing, Devrim?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Have you watched Gladiator recently?
Oh.
No?
No.
Okay. You're going to have to watch
Gladiator. It was like 10 years ago or something.
Oh, okay. We're going to have a new thing, Tyler. I think everybody's going to have to give a Gladiator, Black Hawk Down quote when they call in. It'd be like a fun little salutation. Are you not entertained? Is that not why you have come here? So, Devrim, where is the 707?
707 is my Google Voice. I'm actually in Manhattan.
Oh, you're in Manhattan?
Yeah.
What neighborhood in Manhattan? My old haunt?
It's Upper East.
Upper East Side. I would never go there. I wouldn't go above like 60th Street when I lived in Manhattan, but that's like going to Connecticut. Upper East Side. And you've listened to the show for a long time? Are you new?
Yeah, I've been watching that for a year actually. Thanks for the great show.
Have we been doing this for a year? When was the first show?
I don't know.
When did we launch the first show? I have no idea. Somebody got to look up on the blog and then type that into the notes there. So I did. I think is this the 45th show?
That's 46.
This is 46? Yeah. That means we're probably, because it's 52 weeks in a year, right?
Usually.
I was just searching for startups on iTunes, and then you came up like, I don't know, maybe a year or less.
That's how you found it. You were looking for startups, and you found us.
Yeah, it was wonderful to, see all these people. And I've been a big fan of 37 Signals as well. I learned a lot about getting real book. That's one of the few companies that I have great respect for.
It's got quite a cult following. You're on Shark Tank now. You know the rules. You have 60 seconds.
Yes.
Everybody who's in the chat room, get ready. We're going to ask you to do 2 ratings, everybody. My God, there's 700 people watching the show? Thanks. My God. How many people do you have on your Twitter account?
You
got a lot
20-ish thousand or something.
20,000? These must be very active people. So anyway, 700 people, no pressure. You've got the company that you are a cult fan of, 37 Signals here, the creator of Ruby on Rails, Hacker of the Year from 2005. You've got myself here, your other favorite entrepreneur of all time. Only 700 people. There is no pressure on you. I'm just going to ask the audience to rank your actual performance on a scale of 1 to 10 for 2 things.
Okay.
1 is the quality of your pitch, and 2 is the quality of your idea. So, everybody in the chat room, you're going to write pitch, a number, space, idea, a number. Tyler, you'll also give us a number for both those things? David?
I'll give
a
you
number, and we'll give them feedback. So this is the real deal here. You're going to get a quantifiable number. We have the This Week in Startups clock on the screen, I see. Wow, that's very nice, Kenny. Thank you for that. A little infographic. The show is getting better and better thanks to our sponsors giving us the money to invest in this technology here. Are you ready, Devrim?
Ready.
3, 2, go.
Kodingen is a free development environment for all developers in the world. In short, developers can code using a browser, and organizations can create online development teams. And the whole development efforts and hosting can be completed online. Kodingen is DNA mail for development teams. We launched a month ago, 50,000 page views, 4,500 signups. Matt Mullenweg said, keep me posted on this project, and we are already on the WordPress showcase. CEO of the hosting company we used when our servers were melting, one of the biggest in the UK, is considering being an angel. A leading IT magazine in Germany published an article saying that Kodingen has an enormous potential. Kodingen has made $1,000 on the first month from a few advertisements we have on the front page, and currently we have more than 30 companies who are using Kodingen on a day-to-day basis. My brother and I are lead developers. We ran an outsourcing company for 7 years. Our market size is 8 million developers. With only found 1% of the developer market, Kodingen becomes $5 million cash positive. Our marketing is viral. Just tweets from happy developers has worked out great.
And you're done.
We are looking for $100,000.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So your audio is a little bit weak.
I didn't actually get what does the thing do.
What does the thing do was the thing that was missing. We understand that a lot of people have it already. It's made some amount of money. But I couldn't get what it actually did. The audience is saying they don't know what happened. The pitch, they're giving a 1. The idea, they're putting a question mark. You're basically getting all question marks. So you've been crushed. This is the first time ever that people are refusing to even rate the thing because you didn't tell us what the product is. So don't worry. This is good that you did it on This Week in Startups. We only have 75,000 people listening. within the 2 weeks after the show.
Was the audio so bad, or like?
The audio was bad, and then I couldn't tell the name of the company, and I didn't get from you. The only thing I got that was a hint at what the company does was that it's the DNA for developers. So I thought maybe this is some sort of management tool for developers, but I don't know if it's for managing the project or what. So why don't you try one more time? Tell us the name of the company.
The name of the company is Kodingen. It's a free development environment for all developers in the world. That's
Kodingen?
Kodingen. It's I made an easy URL for you. It's 4jason.com. You just I don't have to spell that.
Okay.
What does a development environment mean?
It is. We created a kind of an Eclipse or code editor online and a hosting environment. You go sign up and then you start coding, and then we give you hosting. We give you a free environment, MySQL databases, SVN repositories, like everything a developer needs is on the website.
Okay.
So you don't have to. Okay.
Coding one?
No, it is Kodingen.
Kodingen.
What programming languages are you guys doing this for?
Yeah, Salzano got it actually on the chat room.
Okay, so question was, okay, here we go. I think I've got the site up on. Can you pull up the site here? Did I get the URL right? It's
Cloud Development Environment.
Welcome to the Cloud Developing Environment. Okay.
Yes.
So, let me. What Dave and I are going to do right now is teach you how to pitch.
Okay.
Because we have two problems here. There's a lot of problems with this pitch, so we're going to have to clean it up. But shockingly, when I pulled up your website, it actually looks somewhat professional. So if you had to pick, your pitch sucks, but your website is pretty good, you would take that. So number one, the name of the site is very hard to spell and to type in. And rule number one, or to hear,
right?
Kodingen. So you've named your site code, and then a suffix, and then another suffix. Koding in. So the K could be a K or a C. ING, we know that's ING. EN could be EN or IN. You've basically given me 4 by 17 ways to misspell this. It would be better for you to call it code 57, like 37 signals, where there's absolutely no way for you to misspell it. You really want names that are hard, that are easy to say. So that was.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We are thinking of changing it, but it's like, we started out like this, and then it's just going to be there. Yeah. But I'm aware of that problem.
Okay. So then the second thing is, this is a cloud computing development environment. Is that what you got out of it, David?
Sort of. I mean, from the pitch, I didn't understand what it meant at all. I think you perhaps, if this is for developers, you don't have to take it so high level. Like, the people you're pitching know the technology. So the sooner you get down to the nitty-gritties of what this thing actually does and what it works with, like, you didn't say anything about programming language, you didn't say anything about the technology, which is fine if you're pitching regular people, but you're pitching developers, so they want to know the details.
Yeah, but like on this 60 seconds, I wanted to just we have a product ready and it's on the market. So sorry about that. I mean, if you go to the feature list, that it becomes a little SVN, XML, buzzword. So, but I take that.
So, what is the development language or what are the development languages that you use? Where I see you have MySQL here, PHP, Apache, Ruby on Rails.
Ruby on Rails, Perl. If you click on any file on the left, you will see it on the right. So, if you just did that, that shows what it is. You just click on any file that you are developing on, and then you can call it online, and you have your jason.kodingen.com immediately available for you. You could add team members. You could just, everything a development environment needs is there.
Okay. It feels to me like, might I say, Google Docs for developers?
Yeah, there's another startup called Heroku that does something similar just for Ruby on Rails. And I think that maybe part of the problem with some of these things is if you try to do everything, like you try to encompass all the different technologies that people could possibly use, how are you going to optimize for any one of them? And if you're not going to optimize for any one of them, then it's going to be lowest denominator and everything, which, like, what's the level of developers you guys are targeting? Because, like, are you targeting newbies who are just who will have problems setting this stuff up themselves, or are you targeting developers who already know what they're doing?
Well, actually, our development environment online is not as powerful as Eclipse, as you would know. So what we are trying to do is actually creating a native API to the cloud servers. So if you check our site, you could create a server and then run commands right from that server. So when you add someone to your team, you don't have to give them any SVN passwords, FTP passwords, or any passwords at all. You just take people to your team and then remove it, and you have no connection with the developer anymore. So you're not worried about the security and everything. So if the online editor that we put right now, we are using Bespin from Mozilla. So if that's not okay, if that doesn't evolve to an Eclipse in the future, people still can, connect with their desktop tools like FTPs and Eclipse, and they can still develop it. The real deal there is that we give databases and SVN and all the, like whatever Google Apps giving to the IT or companies to make them more productive, we do it for the IT departments.
Okay, so looking at it here, pull it up on the screen. David can see it. My screen's bugging out a little bit. But anyway, you can see it's a 3-pane design. I could pull up the test.cfm for Cold Fusion or test.html or test.asp, and I guess I can edit here, invite people to it. I can manage my servers from here. I could one-click install applications, I guess, like Ruby or something. I can manage my database here. So it is a cloud computing sort of thing. So is your competitor EC2? Who's the competitor for this?
You guys use EC2 underneath, right?
Yeah. Yes, we do use EC2. We use VPS.NET right now. We are going to move to our dedicated service. But our competitors are not there almost. Like one is only for PHP, one is on stealth mode. And what we are doing right here, not competing with EC2, you get EC2 servers. We give you a native API to work with them. Like if you have like 10 EC2 servers, if you add someone to your team, they will be able to access to those servers from the website.
I get it. So the web interface for all those servers. Okay, interesting. I think, so you have 2 developers who are the founders of this company?
Yes, me and my brother.
Oh, that's great. So most companies I meet, they've got a business guy or a marketing guy and no technical people. And my interest in investing in a company without a technical person is zero as an angel investor. Because then I think, oh my God, these guys have no understanding of the technology, whatever. And the only person who I would do that with, if it was, Evan Williams or, Jack or, whoever, some Mark Pincus or something, somebody who's a seasoned entrepreneur, they've done 2 or 3 companies, they don't have their hands in code anymore, but you know that they have the wherewithal and the ability to manage technical people. So you're in good shape that way, which makes it very interesting for angel investors. But what you lack, I think, is clarity and marketing message. And that's what David is a little frustrated with, I can tell. What do you do? What problem do you solve? And these are the questions that you have to ask yourself. What problems do we solve? And then how do you explain that in your product? Something like Basecamp or the other 37 Signals products are very clear about the value proposition and what it is and what it isn't. I mean,
because the one thing I got out of your thing was like worrying about security for developers. That's just not. I don't recognize that as a pain point of anybody I've talked to. Like them being worried about if you hire a developer, you don't want to give them your FTP password. You shouldn't be hiring that guy if you don't want to give them your FTP password. And just one more comment, like in your pitch, I heard like the one red flag whenever I hear a pitch is like, if we just get 1% of the market, oh my God.
Forget that. Yeah, that statement is death. But let's look at, as a comparison, because this will lead nicely into the interview, let's look at the 37 Signals homepage, which I have up here. And it is extraordinarily clear. Manage projects and collaborate with your team and clients. And there's even a subhead, which gets into the tactical pieces. Share files, meet deadlines, assign tasks, centralize feedback. So you get like the sort of big picture and I guess some of the details. Organize and share information across your business with Backpack. It's the quickest way to create and share information with your whole team. I look at that and say, I guess that's like a wiki or something like that, or some organization.
That's actually a good point, because that's the hardest one we have to explain. Backpack is sort of a weird one to explain, and we've had problems because of that.
Yeah, and so Campfire, real-time chat, file and code sharing for remote teams. Campfire is like instant messaging, but designed specifically for groups. I get that.
Right.
If I have a bunch of developers and they're in an IRC chat room and they're trying to do code sharing, this is a better solution. Chat with your group is the tagline. Track your contacts is the tagline of HighRise. Track your contacts, leads, and deals. Always be prepared. Keep track of past conversations, calls, and emails. That to me sounds like Salesforce, but maybe a better or simpler version. So I don't know how you do this, David, but you must really think about this and suffer over these 2 sentences and a tagline and the name of the project, correct?
Absolutely. And this is, again, addressing specific annoyances that we've had.
Right.
Like, we had the problem where IRC or IM was not enough, and we came up with Campfire.
Right.
So I think that sometimes you get into trouble when you're designing for other people, because it becomes a lot harder to explain, because you're trying to basically explain somebody else's grievances or annoyances.
Right.
So it's like, are you guys actually using your own tool right now to build your tool?
Yeah. We designed it in PHP, and it's...
So you guys are using that editor to build the site itself?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's a good start for it.
It feels almost like...
We thought, like, I mean, if we don't really use our own thing, we couldn't tell others to use it.
Absolutely. No, so that's at least a good starting point.
Yeah, it feels to me like you guys are the typical, 2, 3 founders who, in some case, I'm taking it that's a Russian accent, maybe.
No, Turkish.
Turkish, great. A lot of immigrant founders of companies. They have great technology, whatever. But it's difficult, I think, sometimes with the language difference and, marketing for a developer. You have like 2 challenges. One, you're a developer, which means you're probably not great at marketing and communicating. That's typical, I think. I don't want to make a major stereotype, but that might be 60 or 70%.
I won't take too much offense.
But that might be 60 or 70% of developers.
No,
maybe,
I agree.
or the majority. They're not naturally marketers, just like marketers are not naturally coders. And then you also have the English barrier. So in the pitch, it was a little harder to hear you. So you need to be aware of those 2 things. I don't know if it's politically incorrect for me to say that to you, that the accent is could be challenging, but you need to be aware of it because I'm trying to be honest with you about it. I had a hard time understanding you. Tyler's got an insight. Go ahead.
You know what this pitch reminds me of is a homeless hottie at a hip hop club.
Okay, explain.
And so what I mean by that is sometimes you're at the club and you see the girls that get all dressed up. They're actually not that hot, but they know how to make themselves look hot.
Right.
And then once in a while you'll see these kind of, she looks like she's homeless, but if she knew how to take care of herself, she could be incredibly hot. And that's so much.
Is that Pygmalion? Is that the play Pygmalion? Is that the play?
Maybe. Yeah, there's certainly maybe a Shakespeare.
It's Pygmalion, where the guy goes and he finds somebody who's sort of, and then he. Okay,
right. And developers on their own have a hard enough time communicating, what they're. They have a hard enough time designing the interface so that people understand what they're doing. And if the core of your company is developers, somebody needs to have a skill set of how to communicate this stuff to
what their
investors
okay.
and.
So what Tyler is saying here is a homeless hottie at a hip hop club. Wonderful insight, Tyler. Got 2 under his belt. The pressure is off. All is forgiven. Too great.
Yeah.
People are going crazy in the chat room for this one.
This is what happens when you go on vacation.
So I guess the way you could say it is sometimes you have a 6 trying to make themselves look like a 10, and sometimes you have a 10 that hasn't taken care of themselves and their appearance, and they look like a 7 or a 6. Something like that. In other words, what they're saying is you got potential to be a 10. That's pretty good.
I mean, I think something went wrong with the audio or something. Like,
okay.
Yeah,
a little bit. The audio is a little rough, but also your accent with the name of the site being hard to spell was like a double strike. We couldn't. We tried like 10 times to get the name of the site out of you. So that was the difficult part. And you wouldn't think that those things matter, but I tell you, a lot of those little things, they start adding up as red flags to investors, potential partners. Like, it has to be clear, and the logo needs to be good, and simple. That's why Twitter has a nice logo, and it's easy to spell. And
I think that might be a little bit overrated, but I do think if you can't hear what the name is and then look it up on the web, that's going to be a problem. Yeah. So I would totally change the name. Don't worry about.
I hear you guys, but like, I mean, you also have to consider like two guys doing it on the side, and plus we have over 3,000 signups. I mean, if those things were that bad as you mentioned,
that's awesome.
That's why Tyler says you're a hottie, you're the homeless hottie in the hip hop club or whatever his metaphor is. The fact is, there's good stuff here.
Right.
We believe you. 3,000 people signed up. The interface is pretty slick looking. I mean, it's obvious somebody has some design skill, and the idea is pretty good. I could see David sort of nodding once he got into the idea a little bit. I started nodding. Okay, there might be a problem here. You have virtual, a bunch of different coders working on something. You want to have a web interface to get to the stuff. Maybe people want controls. Maybe they don't. Maybe I've got such a big site. I want one person working on something, but not FTPing files there. But I agree.
If I respond to David, like for a second, if we are talking about startups, all the startups I know in New York, I know more than 20, they get people from Odesk, and that's a real pain point.
They get people from where?
From Odesk. Like, you hire someone from China, you hire someone from India, you hire them for like 10 hours, 20 hours on a small thing. So not everyone is like 37 Signals savvy on their tech infrastructure, and when they started out on my last gig, the CEO was spending like $4,000 on the servers only, and all those things were running only like MySQL, SVNs, and like simple stuff. So when we give that out for free, people appreciate that, and developers appreciate that. We don't charge them anything for hosting. They just get a free account, free domain, free database, and they don't have to install anything to their desktop computers. And that's how we started. And I took Jason's advice, like launch early, launch crappy.
Yeah.
Well, that's the crappy part. Like we just launched a month ago. So that's why it's like missing right in there. And I take all your feedback because we're aware of them.
I'll tell you what I like about. We have to wrap this call up because we're going for 22 minutes, but and I don't want to run out of show. What I do like about this call, I will say, is that I do not have to prescribe an abundance of Gladiator or Black Hawk Down because you have fight in you. When people started poking at your baby and saying, your baby's ugly, your baby's got a bad name, you fought, which means that you care. So then what you've got to do, David, very arrogant guy. Myself, tremendously arrogant. No.
Wikipedia used to say
Wikipedia says David is incredibly arrogant. Tyler, I can tell you, is insufferably arrogant. No, he's not. Tyler's a humble guy. That's why we work well together. He's a very humble, deft guy, and I'm a very arrogant guy. But that's good. You're confident, and you've seen Black Hawk Down, and you've seen Gladiator, correct?
I guess.
You guess? You guess if you've seen these? Okay, you need to go watch these movies because you have that fight in you, and I like that. So it's a great start. I'm going to have superfan Scott Simcoe check in with you like maybe in 30 days and see how progress is going, and we're going to track your story. And I think that you got great potential. I appreciate you calling in to the Shark Tank.
Okay, thank you very much.
Take care.